Hello everyone, I'm Xiongying. Welcome to my course. Today, I'm going to introduce the Han people. The Han people live in compact communities in the Ailao mountain region between the Honghe River and the Lancang River in southern Yunnan. Some are also distributed in Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and India. The Han people have a long history. Their ancestors are the ancient Qiang people, who are also the ancestor of the Yi, Naxi, and Lahu people. Therefore, all these languages belong to the Yi branch of the Tibeto-Burman language group of the Sino-Tibetan language family. In other words, because of a similar origin, the Han language shares some features with the Yi, Naxi, and Lahu languages. However, Han people do not have a written language system. Their written language is said to have been lost during migration. The government created a script for the language based on the Roman alphabet in 1957. The Han people originated from the ancient Qiang people in the
Qinghai Tibet Plateau.
In the long process of migration, the Han people gradually abandoned their nomadic lifestyle. Instead, they adopted the rice farming technology of the people living in southern China. Thus, they became a farming ethnic group in mountain areas. Over the last few centuries, the Han people and the neighboring ethnic groups have extended the rice farming civilization from river valleys to hills and further to mountains. The fields they cultivated along the mountains look like layers of terraces, thus the name terraced fields. The terraced fields can stretch from the valley up to the mountain top. Looking at them from the distance, the terraced fields are magnificent, like ladders towards the heaven. The cultivation of the terraced fields shows the Han people's wisdom in using and respecting nature. While making the best use of nature, the Han people are careful not to destroy it. This serves as a perfect example of the harmonious relationship between man and nature. I will give an account of Han culture from the concept of man and nature. Every year, before beginning to sow, the Han people will offer a sacrifice to a big oak tree on a mountain above the village. The tree is believed to be the village god that will bring harvest. But why should people ask a tree to bless them in harvest? Actually, trees are worshipped because they provide water resources for the irrigation of the terraced fields or mountains. You know, water always flows downward. Who managed to take it up onto the mountains to irrigate fields? Well, the forest does this work. The Honghe River region is relatively hot. Water in the river evaporates into the air and a mist is formed. In the warmth, the mist rises with the updraft and forms sea clouds which cover the forests on the mountains. Then, tree leaves turn the mist into tiny drops. When the water falls to the earth, it is stored and then passed up the mountains by the root system of the forests. The water gushing out of the forests on the top of the mountains runs down. Gradually, it forms numerous streams. When streams pass by villages, people build pools and wells to collect water. These are the water resources for the daily use of villagers. After flowing out of the villages, it continues to flow into the terraced fields located below the villages. After irrigating the fields, it finally goes back to the rivers. This is a water recycling system of nature. Now you know why Hani people regard an oak tree as a village god and offer sacrifice to it. It is because trees serve to bring water all the way up to the top of the mountains to provide water resources for people and fields. No human labor is involved. Therefore, when deciding the location for villages, people normally choose the mild slopes where there are forests above. The terraced fields are cultivated below the villages. This design makes the best use of the water provided by the forest. Instead of conquering the nature, the Hani people simply followed the natural laws. This is a good example of twice the result with half the effort. The Hani people think nature has given them everything. So they worship nature and regard mountains, water, fire, and forests as their parents. They regard animals, plants, and crops as brothers and sisters. They regard terraced fields as their daughters. From this, we can see the Hani people regard men and nature as one family. They make good use of natural resources. For example, the design and construction of Hani house comes from nature. Their house is constructed with stones and thatch from the mountains. Seen from a distance, the house looks like a mushroom. So it got a name, the mushroom house. It is warm in winter and cool in summer. There are 3 stories. The upper part is for the storage of rice. The middle part is for living, whereas the lower part is for domestic animals. The Hani people not only make good use of nature, but they also cherish things from it and lead an organic life. They are good at recycling. For example, in order to reduce the use of firewood and avoid the excessive chopping down of forests, cattle dung is used as fuel after being dried. The fuel can then serve as fertilizer, which can help crops grow better. After harvest, people eat rice and cattle eat straw, and cattle dung serves as fuel. Resources are fully recycled. There is another example of the Hani people's recycling of natural resources. Most Hani people have ponds near their homes in which there are fish and duckweed. Duckweed is used to feed the pigs, and pig dung is used to feed the fish. In the sowing season, fish are put into the terraced fields because there are plenty of things to eat. When it is harvest time and fish are ready to lay eggs, they are put back into the ponds near the homes. After eggs are laid, big fish serve as food, while small fish will be put into the terraced fields the next year. The Hani people's way of living is very organic, right? Another example of Hani people's wisdom is embodied in the way they fertilize the faraway terraced fields. The villages are quite far from the terraced fields, so it takes hours to go there. The Hani people solve this problem by making use of the water channels formed naturally from the top of the mountains. The channels in the villages are connected with the terraced fields. Before fertilizing, Hani people will block the channels leading to other fields. Then, they put dung produced at home into the channels, and the dung is washed into their own fields with a flow of water. Again, this is a very wise way of using nature. For people living on the mountains, land is a precious resource. Besides terraced fields, people make full use of every inch of land as well. So vegetables and plants can be seen in every corner and even gaps in the walls. Through relying on nature and making good use of nature, the Hani people enjoy a harmonious life. After harvest, the Hani people will offer sacrifices to nature, the god of rice, the god of mountains, and ancestors. They are grateful to nature for its generous gift. It is a perfect example of the organic way of living and of the harmonious relationship between man and nature. The Hani people have taught us how to get along with and make full use of nature. You're welcome to experience this harmony for yourself. Thank you. 边长知识边学英语，希望这里的词汇表可以帮到你。